So I did tell someone to pay attention to how I talk about Louis versus how I've talked about Harry. So if you saw that exchange in the comments, I'm curious what your take on it is. Because the reason why I talk so differently about Louis versus Harry is that I'm a Louis fan. I will never make any disparaging comment about Harry on Louis's page or vice versa. I think that's just childish. And I don't know what benefit that is to anybody. But I honestly would say that my fandom for for Louis was always there. I always noticed Harry. I think Harry that's really his selling point is he's very noticeable. And natural showmen, people that are born for the stage, they have that trait at a very young age. Um, which, yeah, if he had not become famous on X Factor, probably would have found a way to shine elsewhere. However, the reason why I was always a Louis fan was because there was something special about Louis, but we didn't necessarily see it. It was going on behind the scenes based on sort of these verified accounts of what was how he managed to get One Direction out of their really oppressive contract, which to me is, yeah, that is definitely a sign of genius. So when it comes to Larry Stylinson, it's funny because when I had heard about um, Liam passing, that is why I kind of began watching the news coverage, but slowly but surely the algorithm sent me down the rabbit hole, and I was shocked that as a Louis fan and as high profile as Harry Styles is, it was just interesting how I did not know about this trajectory of Larry Stylinson, even though it was right there in front of me. But as I've gotten to know um, more about Louis, because I just don't think he's recognized enough, and I am impressed by what he's been able to accomplish without that machine behind him. It's not that I don't like Harry Styles anymore. It's uh, it's just I think when it comes down to respect, because see the thing is, there's that saying: do you want to be respected or do you want to be loved? Right? And one of the things about respect is that you can respect someone you don't like, and one of the things about being liked, loved, it is subject to the fickleness of people because being liked is not something you can really kind of earn. I mean, you can't, but not quite the way that respect works. And with respect, you can make a number of things that people disagree with, and they may not like you for it, but they will still respect you. So, what's my point? My point is with Louis, I really like Louis, and now my respect for him has only just grown, but it was always there. And so I may just he may maybe come up with an album I will totally dislike, but I will still respect him, or maybe he'll do a marketing campaign and the angle will seem a little bit off, but I'll still respect him. That's what I mean. And now with Harry, it's I go in ebbs and flows because maybe I just like the underdog, but also it it's a shame. It's a real shame that you see people like Niall Horan, like Zayn Malik, who could hit those notes, who is like a really awesome singer, and obviously Liam Payne, who Liam and Louis were the glue behind One Direction, and Liam Payne. It's really just sad that people are now discovering how talented he was, even though he was always talented. And it's one of those funny things when people pass that finally they see how they didn't appreciate them enough when they were alive, and then now it's too late, right? And that's the thing is I don't want that happening to anyone else in the band, just because I mean Niall had the best audition, sorry, and then Louis had the second best audition, but I like them both. I feel that what we are seeing of Harry Styles is a person who the machine likes, is a person the machine backed, and yeah, some of the marketing stuff is so genius, but it's not him who comes up with it because he's got this unlimited resource marketing team and industry veterans, and it's like, yeah, this is why I had that video, The Power of Cute, because the band in One Direction was built around Liam Payne. Liam Payne auditioned in 2009, and no, 2008, when he was 14, and he has talked about Simon making promises to him and his mom when he had flown down to Simon's house in like Barbados when he was on there as a solo contestant 2 years before the X Factor that put him with the boys. So the fact that Harry was so successful was hard for Liam Payne, apparently, and I can see why, because he was given the role of daddy direction. He was sort of the parent to the boys, and it's like he was, locked in his room, like all the things, and there was a lot of sacrifice that Liam made. And I have wondered just the level of intrusion and the level of like manipulation and coercion that the industry did, what Psycho did, what Modest Management did, and how it affected Liam Payne. Because for some reason, and I'm curious if this is true, but I've seen this in a couple of threads, so I am really wondering how true this is, where it was posted that Liam Payne was encouraged to just break ties with all his old friends. And he was like, what, 16, 17? But then Louis is still friends with people that he has known since way before the band, like, Stan, his bestie. And then I see different posts about how he's still in touch with the friends he grew up with in Doncaster. So I don't know why that would have been, that Liam would have been pressured to break off ties, but Louis wasn't, or maybe Louis was, but then Louis didn't do it anyway. I don't know. But that means Liam did a big sacrifice, and Liam really, really wanted to perform. What saddens me is that the fans who appreciate Liam, it's like they were sometimes drowned out by all the people screaming Harry, 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 Harry. Even the people who were fans of Zayn, who was much more popular apparently in Asia. Uh, why is Zayn, with his amazing vocal talent, why don't we hear as much about Zayn? Like, Zayn had some hits and stuff, but where's Zayn lately? And Zayn's on tour right now. Why don't we see enough promotions about it? Because his tours have been sold out. Like, his shows have been sold out, and this is despite him having to cancel because he was dealing with the impact of Liam's death. But why don't we hear enough about Niall? And Niall's the one who taught Harry guitar. Niall, Niall's pretty fucking talented. Okay, so I just I see Louis as the big underdog, but at the same time, the other four boys and tragically now Liam's gone, that they deserved more than this. And yeah, sure, Harry was like a moneymaker. That was really obvious early on, but it's it's inevitable that there's going to be comparisons, but basically that's a goddamn fucking setup, that Harry got favored. And if Harry had even 1 ounce of the kind of things that were happening to him that Louis had to deal with, and Louis took blows for this guy, it's like Harry would have fallen apart years ago. Harry's only Harry because he has a machine, but Louis is Louis because of Louis. And that is why I have a lot of respect for Louis. I see him more as the talent, and I see him as the actual genius behind all of One Direction, him and Liam. And, you know, I think that this is how it goes, but I think Harry Styles is overrated. Okay, I said it. I'm fucking sick of him channeling Freddie Mercury. Like, find your own goddamn style already. Okay, so my take on Larry, after what I've learned about Louis Tomlinson behind the scenes, and the how Niall said, if it wasn't for Louis, they would have lost the plot. So my take is, if they are together, then Louis is the prize in that whole situation. Sorry, Terry, but and sorry, Louis, but I think Louis is the real prize. I think that if they are together, that Harry is incredibly dependent on Louis, much more so than Louis is dependent on Harry. And I see that it's probably a combination of youth, but Harry doesn't have the reservoir of strength and the kind of backbone that Louis had to have had at a young age. I can see why I could see how Harry could just never let go of Louis. I can see how Louis is his whole world. I don't see Louis making Harry his whole world in quite the same way if they're together, but I also see that the relationship is really unique if they are together because of what they went through together, and also there's a debt of gratitude that you'd have for your partner if they were protecting you physically and psychologically from an abusive situation, both being members of a band. So there's a lot of reasons why I think that, yeah, I can see why they're together, but I can see also how the dynamic is forged with a lot of loyalty. And Louis would be the only one I would trust if these accounts of how he protected Harry are true. And I base the research on what has been on record and what people have been quoted as being on record about. Um, so I, if I had been in the shoes of Harry and had this person that was there for me, then that person is bloody irreplaceable. Like, I would never leave them. And Harry being so emotional, I could see that. If they are not together, which I have a hard time believing they're not together because of all the blue greening and just I just don't think they're pleasing. You cannot, if you're pleasing Larry's because you think it'll make money, there's not enough people who know about Larry to for that to really be worth it if you really supposedly hate the conspiracy. So I just, more and more, I really do think they're together, and I think they're even. I'm more convinced they are together now. But on the odd chance that they're not together, somebody in the comment section said that they feel that one interpretation is that a lot of the melancholy in Harry's songs are about a love relationship he could never get over, and for very much the same reasons that I said before. If they're not together, I can totally see why Harry Styles would never get over Louis. I mean, I wouldn't get over Louis based on everything that I found out in the research. And I can, but I can see, because Louis is so self sufficient, I could see Louis being able to actually get over a relationship like that and be able to compartmentalize it, because he does appear to demonstrate the ability to really compartmentalize and manage emotions really, like, internally, which he would have had to for some of the things he had to negotiate with their old management. But I can see how Louis could be equally sad that it's no longer in existence, this relationship, if they're not together. But I can see him getting over it. Um, I can see him integrating the loss as part of the kaleidoscope of life, and everything Louis has, he's really earned, and really enjoying the stage and finally getting what he deserves in terms of like fans and like the records. And I just, part of the reason I decided to do this series on Louis is because, yeah, people who were convinced I was a Harry. Just, yeah, you guys are wrong. Is I don't. I would love to see the ones who really do have talent and aren't just showmen get the recognition they deserve. I think we've spent too much time focusing on Harry Styles. I think he's gotten way too much attention already, and it's time to like maybe ignore him for a bit, because he's made enough money and he can come back when he's not channeling Freddie Mercury and with more of an original style. Uh, but I could see that Louis doesn't, if they broke up, I could see Louis just being able to move on, find somebody that's at his level, and just, be self-sufficient and enjoy his family and find the joy in the imperfect, because that really is a resilient heart there. Um, so my little nickname for Louis is Louis the Lionheart, like Richard the Lionheart, who apparently was LGBTQ plus before that term came about. Anywho's, but Lionheart meaning brave. Um, but nonetheless, I think we need to give more attention, and we need to demand as fans that the other three boys that we still have with us, they get the airplay, and they are talented. I mean, the only thing Harry Styles had over them was A, natural showman, right? Can't teach that. B, he was really super cute when he was young, and C, he used to have really awesome curls, but then he's had a hair transplant since, apparently, which because he had a receding hairline starting at 18. So there we go. But yeah, so my take on Larry is I'm more convinced they're together, but I just think that in the end, Louis is the prize.